Kay Alex Eala, binabati ka namin sa nakamit mong gintong medalya sa women's singles tennis.
The president of the Philippines personally reached out to Alex Eala after her French Open loss, and the message reportedly sent to her on May 26th has changed the entire tone around her 2026 season.
That success is not accidental. It is earned every time you choose to show up and you choose to rise again and again.
Hours earlier, the 21-year-old had walked off court 13 at Roland Garros after a 4-6, 2-6 first-round defeat to her friend Eva Jovic.
Eva is such a good friend of mine. We competing against each other as competitors, I think we're very accustomed to it.
By the time the sun set in Paris, according to circulating reports across Filipino social media and fan channels, the highest office in the country was already moving to lift her back up. What was communicated in that exchange is something Filipino tennis has never experienced before.
I'm confident in myself. I'm confident in how I play even through losses like this, and I think that's very important.
Eala entered Roland Garros, sitting at world number 37, carrying the hopes of 115 million Filipinos on her 21-year-old shoulders. She arrived in Paris saying she felt more prepared than in any previous Grand Slam appearance. That preparation was real. The draw was not kind. And the moment she stepped onto that court, she was not just playing for herself, she was playing for an entire country watching at 3 in the morning back home. Then came Eva Jovic, ranked 17 in the world, American in form, and painfully one of Alex Eala's actual friends on tour. The match was billed by international media as a battle of besties, but the scoreline did not care about friendship. 4-6 in the first set, 2-6 in the second, 1 hour and change, and Eala's French Open campaign was over before most of the Philippines had finished breakfast. The doubles withdrawal followed shortly after, and in that silence between the loss and the press conference, an entire nation held its breath, wondering if the weight of expectation had finally caught up with their brightest tennis hope. Here is what the cameras caught and what reports out of Manila are amplifying. Eala did not crumble in the press room. She did not blame the surface. She did not blame the draw. She looked into the microphones and said,
I'm confident in myself. I'm confident in how I play even through losses like this, and I think that's very important.
and this is a direct quote, I'm confident in myself. I'm confident in how I play even through losses like this, and I think that's very important. 21 years old, just lost a Grand Slam first rounder on live international television, and her response was the response of a player who has already decided she is not going anywhere. That quote alone is why, according to reports circulating in Filipino media circles, the call from Malacanang Palace came so quickly. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has called Alex Eala an inspiration to everyone and an inspiration to Filipinos in previous public statements following her 2025 breakthroughs. The pattern of presidential support is documented. The mechanism is established. What reportedly changed on May 26th was the timing, reaching out not after a win, but after a loss. And this is where Filipino fans need to hear something clearly. You were not wrong to believe in her. The supporters who stayed up through the night, who flooded the comment sections with messages of love instead of criticism, who refused to let one scoreline define a career. You saw the truth the rankings could not show. A 21-year-old who walks off a Grand Slam court and talks about confidence instead of regret is a 21-year-old who is not finished, not even close. Then came the quote that revealed everything about how she thinks. Speaking in the Roland Garros press room, Eala said of Rafael Nadal, "You see me and you see Rafa Nadal, he's just like a machine." She was not bragging, she was studying. At an age when most players are still chasing identity, Alex Eala is benchmarking herself against one of the greatest mentalities in the history of the sport. That is not the mindset of a first-round exit. That is the mindset of someone building towards something the world has not seen from Philippine tennis before. And this is exactly why the reported intervention from the highest office in the country matters. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is not a casual fan tweeting from the sidelines. He is the sitting president of the Republic of the Philippines, the head of state of a nation of over 115 million people, and a public figure who has, on multiple documented occasions across 2025 and into 2026, gone out of his way to recognize Alex Eala by name. He has called her an inspiration. He has framed her journey as a national story. When that voice reaches out to a young athlete in her lowest professional moment of the week, even if only through the channels of presidential staff and public messaging, it transfers something rankings cannot give. It transfers legitimacy. It transfers permanence. It transfers the message that her value to the country is not measured in wins and losses at Roland Garros. It is measured in what she represents every time she steps onto a court wearing those three letters, PHI. The bigger picture is impossible to ignore. Eala's reported presidential validation arrives at a moment when Asian women's tennis is undergoing a generational shift. China has Zheng Qinwen, Japan has its rebuilding stars, and now the Philippines, a country with no Grand Slam tradition, no clay courts on most public school grounds, no historical pipeline, has a player whose name is now spoken in the same press conferences as the world's top 17. The grass season is next, Wimbledon qualifying and main draw scheduling has already been published. After that, the U.S. Open Series stretches across the summer and into Flushing Meadows in August. 3 windows, 3 chances, and a player who just told the world she is confident in herself even through losses like this. The trajectory is not built on hope anymore. It is built on a top 30 peak earlier this year, a season record hovering around 18 wins and 13 losses, and a 21-year-old's refusal to flinch under the brightest lights in the sport. And yes, the loss to Jovic hurt. 4-6, 2-6 is not a scoreline anyone celebrates. The doubles withdrawal that followed was not the Paris ending anyone in Manila stayed up for. But watch what Eala did. She did not go silent. She did not vanish from public view. She faced the press, owned her performance, and spoke about confidence in the same breath she spoke about defeat. That is a 21-year-old who has already learned something most professional athletes spend a decade trying to find: the ability to lose a match without losing herself. A first-round exit in Paris, a friend across the net, a scoreline of 4-6, 2-6, a quote about confidence even through losses, a comparison to a machine named Rafael Nadal, and reportedly, a message from the president of the Philippines arriving in the hours that followed, built on a documented pattern of presidential recognition stretching back through 2025 and into this year. Now, to be completely transparent with you, the specific details of any private conversation between Malacanang and Alex Eala have not been independently confirmed by major outlets. What is verified is the president's repeated public praise, the loss to Jovic, and Eala's remarkable response. The rest is the story Filipino fans are choosing to tell Saint Fergus and given the pattern, it is a story that fits. So here is the question for the comment section. Do you believe this reported presidential support is the spark that pushes Alex Eala into the top 20 and a deep Wimbledon run this summer? Or does the real turning point still lie ahead at the U.S. Open? Drop your prediction below. And if you are one of the people who has been following Alex Eala's journey since before the world knew her name, you already know what this channel is. This is where the Filipino tennis community gathers. This is where we track every match, every quote, every milestone together. Subscribe and stand with the fans who recognize greatness before the rankings did. The grass season starts next, and you are not going to want to watch it alone.